now they know it's for the name, the legacy.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Okay, this is Umar Ahmed for IFL, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I feel like Gareth's going to run the interview. Do you want to do it?
Yeah. So what has happened with Fury?
Hold the mic, Gareth.
So what? I'm here with Frank Smith. This is Gareth Davies for IFL TV. I'm not employed by IFL TV, but I'm doing this interview for Umar. I feel that Fury and Joshua, it's backed off facing. It's over, this fight, isn't it, for December the 3rd?
I think you probably watch Eddie Hearn's interview. You know, ultimately we all work to try and make it happen. We're not going to work towards deadlines that change every single day by one man. It doesn't take away from the work we did, the good work we did, and the good relationship that we built over this. So, you know, it is what it is. Maybe it's one for the future.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is the relationship built for the future?
Hopefully, you know, we're working on some other things. You know, speaking to George often, so you know, I had a good relationship with him. So hopefully, that's a plus that comes out of this.
Was it in Anthony Joshua's interest to take this fight right now?
He would take the fight, whether everyone has an opinion whether it's the fight he should have taken. Anthony Joshua has showed all throughout his career that he's willing to face anyone. He faced Usyk twice when people said he wouldn't. You know, so you can't take anything away from Anthony Joshua. You know, he'll be back as soon as possible, and that's, you know, like I say, in the future maybe that's a fight to be made. But there's a lot of big fights out there to be made as well.
Obviously, Eddie Hearn is the front man, you know, and is a big top-line talker. You do a lot of work behind the scenes, Frank, that people frankly don't hear about a lot. Are you convinced that at some point in the future, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, regardless of what's happened on their records, will step into a ring together for the British public?
Yes, I think it will happen. Yes, at some point.
But not on December the 3rd?
No.
You heard it there. I'll let you take over.
Nice to see you, Gareth.
He wants to talk to you about Ben and Eubank.
Yeah, do you want to still talk to me?
Yeah, of course I do, of course I do.
Are you happy with that? Okay.
Yeah, perfect, Gareth. I couldn't really hear what he was saying, to be honest, but I could hear he was talking about Fury Joshua, so let's just get that out of the way. What's your understanding of what happened last week with George Warren, Frank?
Look, we had continued discussions with George Warren. Ultimately, though, Tyson Fury is the person who every day is coming out saying, today's a deadline. It was Monday, then it was here, then it was there. The guy changes his mind every 5 minutes, but ultimately that doesn't take away from the work we all did together. You know, and like I said, just there with Gareth, hopefully it's just, you know, it's a start for the future of maybe some things that could be done.
I mean, that would be great for British boxing if that is the case, but the fact that the deal didn't get over the line and in the end no contract was signed, surely that might scupper relationships moving forward because nothing came of it.
No, but I don't think, you know, not every deal gets done. And also people talk about, you know, trying to get this deal over the line for Fury against Joshua. I mean, what were we talking about, 2-3 weeks? But this fight here took 6 or 7 weeks to get done. It's not just like click your fingers, there's a contract, we'll sign it, everything's good. Ultimately, we have to do a job to make sure it's the right deal for Anthony Joshua. And those things take time. It's not just someone sets a deadline. He can set a deadline because then he can go and fight somewhere else. That's his prerogative, you know, it's what he wants to do. But it doesn't mean that the deal's going to get done just because you say it has to be done by X.
Obviously, the terms were accepted publicly by Joshua, by yourselves, by 258. So what was wrong with the deal in the end?
But obviously, when we say the terms, it was 3 items of the terms, and then you get a contract and it's 30, 40 pages. So as much as you agree 2-3 key points, and we did, the key points there were agreed. But ultimately, you then go back and forwards on a 40-page document, and of course, both sides are going to have their own opinions on it. So ultimately, I think, yes, we can agree those core points were agreed, but it's a lot more. It takes a lot more than just that.
So ultimately, you guys weren't happy with the contract. Is that why you couldn't sign?
I think there was still a lot of work to be done, and like I say, the time frames, not set by George Warren or anyone like that, but Tyson Fury's consistent public sort of bashing that he would do, that he always does. You know, ultimately, we're not just going to sing to what Tyson Fury wants us to do.
Last one on that, of course. Tyson is a fighter, he's emotional. Joshua is a fighter as well. He came out on Instagram Live and said he would sign the contract. Tyson had about 3 or 4 deadlines during that whole process. Those guys are emotional, they're fighters, they say things. Ultimately, Matchroom and George Warren were always talking. You guys had the power to make the fight. So in terms of a deadline from George Warren's side, was there one from him? Are you saying Queensberry had a deadline on you guys?
Yeah, I think Tyson Fury essentially gave them a deadline, to work towards. So I'm not saying it's George Warren's, but it's like, but if he can't get a deal done within that time frame, it's kind of out of his hands, because then he has to answer to, just like we have to answer to Anthony Joshua. If Anthony Joshua said, right, you got a week to do this deal. On the other hand, when he was champion and we didn't make it, we'd have to go back and say, right, what do you want us to do? But we all ultimately just answer to the fighters, because they're in charge.
What was the last point of conversation then? Where was it left at?
I think there were still points, but it was beyond the deadline ultimately. So it was beyond the deadline that Tyson had set. So ultimately at that point, there's no more conversations to be had.
But there wasn't a deadline from George Warren though, so...
Essentially from Tyson Fury there was, who George Warren he does work for, just like we work for Anthony Joshua. So he's the man, Tyson Fury's the man getting in the ring, just like Anthony Joshua is. So if they tell us what to do, then we do it.
Okay, what have you made up to the build-up of this? Eubank Jr. is clearly playing the villain, that's pretty clear. Can you tell us anything? Like, obviously, you're part of the Eubank family. Is he actually eating KFC and steaks and chocolate cakes?
Maybe it's part of the diet plan. It's part of my diet plan, but my weight only goes up like that. They don't involve me in the diet plan, to be honest, unfortunately, or the training regime. I just get I don't get much info. No one tells. Actually, to be honest, no one on any side tells me anything anymore. So it's been quite a calm few weeks for me with all this.
Well, the Destroyers here, fired up as always. Do you think that's what we get from him as soon as the first bell goes?
Here he is. Look at him in that. Him and Cat. When you see Connor's outfit and Caller's outfit, they got dressed together.
Yeah. Do you think he comes out all guns blazing? Do you think he comes out all guns blazing on Saturday night?
Yeah, I do. I think that's the way he's always been. He's ready to go. You've seen it in every press conference, and I think he does. I'm not going to pick a winner. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but I think it goes 12 rounds.
Last one, just for people who perhaps are watching a fight on DAZN for the first time. There will be a lot, because this goes to a different audience than some of the fights you've had before. Just tell them how they can sign up if they're not a DAZN subscriber already and buy this fight.
Yeah, look, obviously live and exclusive on DAZN pay-per-view, so sign up on DAZN.com, follow all the instructions on there, very quick and easy. Get a month subscription as well as part of the price. So you got it DAZN.com, you got it on Virgin Media as well for all their applicable boxes.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Step up. Apparently every fight's been a step up. I do the talk, make the noise, and give them the theatre. But they've always been seen in the wake. But it's time they've woken up. Now they know it's for the name, the legacy.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.